Scattered across the islands of the South Pacific is a population of crabs that are great in a pinch. The coconut crab is the largest land crab in the world and uses its claws to tear open more than just coconuts. From their predatory tactics to their ability to drop from trees, this is one decapod you don't want to mess with on your trip to Christmas Island. But being a pinchy Pete is just how this crusty crab survives here in life, death, and taxonomy.
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, search Cassie Michelle on YouTube. And today we're talking about an animal that sounds like a delicious Caribbean dish, but looks like it has inspired The Witcher's endrega monsters. But more on that later.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Did you play The Witcher?
Like an hour of it.
Oh, well, there's like arthropod type monsters that look very much like this.
It's probably definitely the inspiration for Tamatoa in Moana, my absolute favorite Disney character of all time.
And I really like him, and you are being facetious. But what are we talking about? We're talking about the coconut crab.
Yes, we are. And that does sound like a dish. I just realized that when you mentioned it. I don't know how good that would taste.
I'm not a huge crab fan or seafood fan in general, except for like shrimp. But coconut crab, I like coconut shrimp.
I've had crab bisque, and that's it. So, I'm not a seafood fan. It's too expensive, and also
It tastes like it's just bug meat. At best, it has a very mild flavor, and it's
it's really all about what I did.
Vessel for butter.
But yeah, so we're talking about the coconut crab, also known as the robber crab or the palm thief by locals. But we're gonna call it here the pinchy pirate and Citizen Snips, which is a Futurama reference.
Give him the clamps.
Oh yeah, clamps. No, but there's Citizen Snips attacks Theodore Roosevelt's head in one of the episodes of Futurama, and it's just a sentient crab. How about you taxonomize? Can you give us a kingdom?
I think I can conjure a kingdom. They're in the kingdom that you know, love, and are in the kingdom Animalia.
Got it. I knew it.
The phylum is Arthropoda. You know what those are.
Yep.
Things with exoskeletons for the most part.
Insects, bugs, crabs.
The phylum is Crustacea.
Aren't you naming your daughter that?
Crustacea? Alive? I forget. It's either that or Rodentia.
It's I don't think it's Crustacea. I'm pretty sure you've said that.
They could call her Stacy, and they'd be like, "Oh, is that short? That's just your name. Your name is Stacy." And little do they know, it's short for Crustacea.
Does your wife know about this? Like, is she on board with this idea?
Actually, she gets to name the girls. So if there's girls, she names them. If there's guys, then I name them.
Huh.
Which apparently, according to studies, women do better with strange names. So my creativity is really limited. I'm really limited to kings and queens of England or Bible names.
You can't.
Oh no, actually, not even the queens of England.
Right. So yeah, you can do Napoleon. That's not a king of England, but
no. So James, John, Arthur.
Oh, yeah, he's not even real. The kings of England are mostly named after Bible names. So
that's true.
It's like, except it's basically
except
James,
for like Charles,
John, and I want to say that's about it. Maybe Philip. But yeah, so good luck naming your sons something between Matthew and
Crustacea.
Oliver Cromwell.
that one's debatable.
And then Johanna can go nuts and name them like her daughter's like Star or something like that.
Or Malacrostraka.
True.
Which is the class. Malacostraca.
Mally, that would be her name.
And then the order is Decapoda.
When you're a decapod.
Yes. The family is. Now, do you think this is a soft C or a hard C? Coenobitidae?
I want to. I want to
Bitidae.
treat it like coelacanth.
But it looks like the Coen brothers.
Right, but coelacanth starts with COE. I'm pretty sure. So you can be like
Coenobitidae? Yeah.
Cenobitidae. Or Cenobitidae.
I've seen a bit today. The genus is Burgess, which I'm going to have tonight for dinner.
Nice, me too.
And then the species is Latro, making the binomial name Burgess latro.
Bob's Burgess. But since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for my favorite part of the show, Critter Groups. The part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question. That question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of this animal? Or what is the collective noun? Or what is the term of venery? This particular crab does not hang out in groups, but crabs generally do, so we're going to go with crabs. So, Joe, if you saw a group of crabs, would you say it's A, an annex of crabs, B, a brazier of crabs, C, a cast of crabs, or D, a dike of crabs?
I'm going to say a cast of crabs. An ensemble cast of crabs.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Ding, ding, ding. You're correct.
It's good to go with alliteration.
Darn it. I mean, I was doing the whole like A, B, C, D thing, so I was just hoping that it would just all be a dark horse to you. And cast just seems so plain. But you got it. Good job.
Sweet. Are you ready to have this thing described?
Yes, it's very important that everybody knows what this thing looks like because it'll be in my dreams tonight.
Well, when you get to work before you clock in, definitely look up a picture of this because it is crazy looking. Coconut crabs are big land crustaceans that share a lot of similarities with insects because unlike most of their crab brethren, they live on the land. They live in the land at Epcot. They don't. I think there's lobsters there though. Unlike bulbous, like in their like sea farm thing.
I didn't know they had a sea farm.
Yeah, they have like fish farm. Things.
Oh yes, I do remember that. Definitely not there. The crabs though.
Unlike bulbous-bodied sea crabs, coconut crabs have long, thick legs and that support a proportionately smaller body than your average Dungeness or ghost crab. But like crabs, they have pinchers. In fact, they have some of the largest pinchers in the animal kingdom, maybe even the largest. The left pincher is always bigger than the right. So they're southpaws.
They're
southpaws.
lefties. Large lefties. There's my other nickname.
Oh, the McCartney Malacostraca. That would have been a good one because he was a lefty.
I would have never known that. I don't. Yeah, I'm not aware of celebrities' handedness.
Normally, I wouldn't be either, but you can see his guitar goes the wrong way compared to everyone else's.
Sure, I guess like Jimi Hendrix.
I never understood that. Like, when you were learning to play the guitar, it's such a foreign thing when you first start. So why not just like you're using both hands and they both do like important stuff. So why not just have like be able to buy regular guitars for the rest of your life?
No, because one hand is whichever hand is dominant is definitely more less dexterous, it seems.
Probably. But there you have to have some dexterity. Once you get into like advanced stuff, it looks like you need some pretty great dexterity on the right hand too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jimi Hendrix just played right-handed guitars and strung it the other way. Interesting. So it's just he had a weird guitar that very few people could emulate. Very weird style. But and I think there was a judge in Judges who was left-handed, and because of his left-handedness, he was able to kill a king.
Ehud.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
That was either the name of the king or the judge.
They're the king. Yeah. That's a crazy story. Go look it up. Read your Bible.
Yeah, I think it's Ehud. Ehud ben Gera. Ehud Ben and Jerry's.
Delicious.
From the tribe of Benjamin and Jerry's.
Oh, it's just the most delectable tribe. Although Judges, the tribe of Benjamin goes nuts in the book of Judges. Anyway, look it up.
They come in a variety of colors. Typically, they sport a brown, tan, or dark gray main color with bright accents. These accents could be red, orange, or blue in coloration. I saw a picture with a blue one and an orange one, and it looked like they were about to play Rocket League.
Yeah, I'm looking at that picture right now, and it's great. Definitely looks like one commands the power of the sea, and the other one commands the power of a volcano.
Yeah, it looks like you just got used to fighting the blue one, and then all of a sudden you start seeing the red ones.
And you're like,
and
darn
they have
it.
more health.
And these ones have shields. Or they just look like if you're playing Pokemon Ruby, you get to get the blue one, and if you're playing Pokemon Sapphire, you get to get the red one.
Yeah, one of them is shiny.
Yeah.
Shiny! Anyway.
Oh. I
Alright,
brought this upon myself.
Since we mentioned it's a big crab, let's talk about how big that crab is. Welcome to the Beloved Measure Up segment. The official...
You've been going to a Presbyterian church for too long.
I realize I always say, like, when I'm reading the Bible out loud, I always say...
Blessed.
ED, but beloved and blessed sounds wrong.
Yeah.
But that's just because it's an old way of speaking.
Same. And it also fits better in the hymns when you put an extra syllable there.
That's true. That's true. Sometimes it's designed for that.
Like pierced is pierced hands.
Yeah, I would never say I would say pierced if I'm playing D&D. You know.
That's why. So what you do is you stretch out the words that don't have the extra syllable, like pierced and blessed, and then you cram together the other words that have the extra syllable, like heaven and given.
Yeah, why don't we just, I guess that was just nobody ever said. Did people say pierced back then? And then just the songwriters were like, pierced sounds cool? Anyway.
I don't know.
This is the part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send an audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering. The words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week.
Pooh.
But that means we get to hear from an animal, and Carlos has to guess what it is. And I have to be really careful about this because I found a video where the person is compulsively and almost intentionally, it seems, saying the name of the animal over and over and over again. But I found a section of the video where he doesn't. So, without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show. Did you hear that sound?
I heard the sound, yeah.
Okay. Is that A, a ghost crab, B, a spider crab, C, a velvet crab, or D, a Dungeness crab?
Spider crab. Final answer.
Final answer. That is incorrect. It's a Dungeness crab.
It just sounded so like a loud marble falling on a table.
It sounds like some sort of stridulation.
And spider crabs are the biggest in the biggest crabs in the ocean.
Yeah,
This is the biggest crabs of all time, but like
it's a Dungeness crab in a bucket. So maybe the bucket's making it sound bigger and larger.
And the person in the video is just saying, Dungeness crab, Dungeness crab.
They're like, have you ever heard a Dungeness crab make this sound? This is a Dungeness crab. Can you believe a Dungeness crab would sound like this?
Interesting. I guess it's mostly people's meals, so.
Let's talk about body length. Considering their 11, their 3-foot leg span.
Oh, that sounds like more like a Witcher monster.
Yeah. They appear very large, but their body length is around 40 centimeters or 16 inches on average.
It's very big.
So how many coconut crabs go into the greatest length of Christmas Island? Do you know where Christmas Island is?
In the South Pacific?
Yeah, it's here's the hint. Christmas Island is a territory of Australia, though it's just off the coast of Indonesia. According to the Christmas song about Christmas Island, if you spend Christmas there, your Christmas dreams will come true.
My Christmas dreams. It can't be that big. I don't know. I'm going to say 10 miles.
10 miles.
Yep. That's enough for like one small little hamlet. Because I think like Puerto Rico is something like 100 miles across.
And there's so many islands out.
I don't know. There's some that are just like little spits of land, and some that are much bigger. So I don't know. 10 miles in diameter seems like a on the smaller side tropical island in the South Pacific.
Well, it has to bear this in mind. It has to hold one of the largest populations of coconut crabs in the world. And there's one other island that does too.
Do know that their largest populations are where people are less frequent. The fewer people there are, the more crabs there are.
They want to be where the people aren't.
Right, yes. They don't want to see them dancing.
Same with Sebastian.
What?
Sebastian the crab.
Yeah. He wants to be where the people aren't.
It's better down where it's wetter.
That's true. All right, I'm going to say 3,300 crabs.
3,300 crabs, final answer.
Yes.
The correct answer is 47,520 crabs.
Oh, this is a much bigger island than I had anticipated.
It isn't, though. Maybe one of us did math wrong. The island is 19 kilometers or 12 miles long.
Oh, I did math very wrong. I missed one step. I figured out how many feet were in 10 miles, and then I divided that by 16 inches, which was wrong. I needed to multiply. Once I got the feet, I should have multiplied that by 12 and then divided that by 16.
You would have been relatively... Did you miss a decimal?
No,
you would have been really close because...
I would have said 39,000.
Pretty close.
Darn it. That was a math problem.
But there's a lot of crabs in 2 miles, so... let's talk about their weight. They're 4.1 kilograms or 9.0 pounds. How many of the world's smallest baby ever to survive birth go into the weight of the coconut crab?
I don't see how that's related to the crab.
Oh, well, because I was thinking 9 pounds. That's like a big baby.
Oh, okay.
And then like, well, what's a small baby? So here's a hint. The baby's name is Sabi.
Sabi the baby.
And she's still a baby because she was born a toddler. She was born December 2018 after her mom had to have an emergency C-section at 23 weeks, which is 17 weeks early. Only half of babies born at this stage survive. But after 5 months in the NICU, she was able to go home happy and healthy.
All right, I'm going to say that this baby was 1.5 pounds. Because I feel like somebody recently told me about like a 2-point-something pound baby. And if this is the smallest ever recorded, then I'm going to say 1.5. So the answer is 6. Six Sabies go into this.
6 baby Sabies?
6 baby Sabies go into this crab.
The correct answer is 16.7 baby Sabies.
This baby was less than 1 pound.
Sabi was 8.6 ounces at birth.
0.5 pound. Whoa.
That's the size. That's the weight of a large apple.
At 20, that is wow, huh? Because we're expecting another one, and at this point, he or she is the size of an orange. So
how many weeks is it?
It's 9.
Huh.
So
I wonder how large an
maybe
apple.
it's like the weight rather than the size kind of thing.
Yeah. Apples are probably denser than oranges.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear some fast facts before we get into the major fact?
Sure.
Well, they live on the tropical islands of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. They are terrestrial crabs and spend most of their time in the coastal areas of their home islands.
They're actually the largest invertebrate on land in the world.
Wow.
They're the largest arthropod
yes.
for sure, and then I looked it up to see if it extended to all invertebrates because there really aren't. I couldn't think of anything bigger, and nope, they're the largest invertebrate.
I saw that they might top out the largest that an invertebrate can get because in modern times, because of the atmosphere, the oxygen in the atmosphere is lower than in the past when there were bigger arthropods, but it's just arthropods are not as good at absorbing oxygen as vertebrates are, so they are probably the top of the biggest you can get as an invertebrate.
Yeah, because of the concentration of oxygen in the atmosphere.
Yeah. So these crabs eat a variety of plants and animals, including fruit, nuts, seeds, carcasses, turtles, and other crab species, and even members of their own species. They aren't thought to eat coconuts as a major part of their diet, but it seems that coconuts are very important to them because their populations on islands where there aren't very many coconut-producing palm trees are very small. And they are smaller on islands with fewer coconuts.
Yeah, their population is small, and they are actually smaller.
Yeah, so they don't always eat coconuts, but when they do, I guess it's a nutrient boon to them. And it takes them quite a long time to open these coconuts, but they get it done with those claws. So they're associated with coconut-producing palm trees, though they don't live in them. Instead, they burrow underground. If they stray too far from their burrows, they may escape predators by climbing up a tree, especially when they're young, and the climbing's easy. Speaking of young, though they are land crabs, crab hatchlings are planktonic, which means they are tiny, free-floating organisms.
That have friends of the opposite gender, but they don't really go anywhere.
Or they're the perfect specimen, the ideal version of a free-floating organism.
Yeah, they have perfect societies as well.
So, like a girl who loves the sea, it calls mother crabs to skitter down to the water's edge to lay their eggs.
There's a lot of Moana references in this one.
As they age, they sink to the bottom of the seafloor to use shells as armor like hermit crabs. Within a year, they leave the sea and forget how to breathe underwater. So if you see one, definitely don't toss it in the waves. It's like tossing a tortoise in the water.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Somebody told me that he did that and realized too late that it wasn't a turtle, it was a tortoise.
Yep. And that's probably not a good... hopefully he was able to climb out.
Hopefully.
So, though you may have dreams of giant crab rangoon when looking at these crustacean titans, they are poisonous to humans. Because of the fruit they eat, which has toxins that build up in the crabs, it makes them toxic to consume.
I was actually reading that they could be toxic if that fruit is their main... if they've eaten a lot of it, but they have been hunted quite a bit.
There's hope for...
Yeah, it's like...
a giant rangoon.
For giant bisque.
Coconut crabs are long-lived and may continue to grow until they reach 120 years. That's tortoise level.
Yeah.
Each year they molt their shells and retreat to the burrows during their vulnerable naked phase. Same.
They actually eat their shells.
Yeah, I was going to say, instead of birthday cake,
Never.
They eat their old shells each year.
I'll let you go.
That's a nutrient-saving method.
It's so nasty.
Not going to leave any nutrients behind. Are you not eating your fingernail clippings? Because that's kind of a waste.
Are you not when you get sunburn and your skin peels? Are you not just adding that to your yogurt?
Every time you, every time you go and get a haircut, sweep that up. You got a stew going.
Oh, this is this is. I mean, I guess that's what Polyjuice Potion is, right?
Hair, the stew that flosses.
Flosses your teeth while you sip.
That's the next LDT shirt.
No, I don't like it. I don't want it in the world.
Well, that's all I got. You got any big facts?
All right. Yes, it's a big crab, big facts. We're gonna call this one Quick Claw, which is a Pokemon reference. So the coconut crab has the strongest grip in the animal kingdom, with a potential of 3,000 newtons of force. Now, they did a bunch of studies, or they did one study, where they got a bunch of crabs, but none of the crabs were the size, like the maximum size reported for a coconut crab. And so they recorded the maximum grip strength, which I think was 1,800 newtons, and then applied that to a crab that was 4 kilograms, which I think is like 16 or like 18 pounds. Or no, like 17 pounds. So that's compared to the upper end of average, which is 9 pounds. Like, that's a really big crab. So they anticipate that having 3,000 newtons of force, and that's 10 times stronger than a human's grip. Now, that's not the strongest gripping ability of any animal. That goes to the crocodile with its like 16,000 newtons of bite force, but this is the strongest appendage grip. Their arms are also strong enough to lift over 50 pounds, which is the weight of they can lift a small child. So that's these.
Wow,
it's creepy. So they use these super powerful claws to tear apart their food, which is mostly fruit, and also it definitely consists of coconuts. It's not the only thing they eat, but they definitely eat a lot of coconuts. They'll climb up to 30 feet into trees, and they'll either cut down the coconuts that are up there, or they will grab a coconut from the ground, bring it up to the top of the tree, and then just drop it, and then go down to feast on the coconut if it breaks. I'll repeat the process if it doesn't break. But they don't just climb down. They'll drop down. They'll just fall. They can fall up to 15 feet without getting hurt because they have such strong carapaces. Although they don't have a shell. Adults don't have a shell like most crabs do, or like their ocean-dwelling younglings do when they are like more traditional hermit crabs. So they are covered in a really hard armor, though, and that allows them to not get hurt as they fall from trees. And then they will try to rip the husk apart with their claws, or they'll kind of whack it. They'll hit it like the creepy robot baby from Toy Story, taking its claw and hitting the side of the desk to alert all of the rest of Sid's toys to help Woody and Buzz. And it'll keep hitting it until it cracks so that they can get at that tasty coconut flesh and have a pina colada and get caught in the rain. But they don't just eat fruit. They're omnivorous, like pigs. So they'll eat just about anything they come across, including the carcasses of animals and living animals. So there's actually a pretty gruesome video of a coconut crab climbing a tree, and it finds a sleeping red-footed booby, which is this kind of large seagull bird, and it grabs its wing, breaking its wing and tearing it off the tree so it falls. And then presumably, I didn't see this in the video, but I mean, I imagine the bird could just get away, but because the crab could just dive bomb out of the tree. I imagine it just dropped onto the bird that had fallen, and then it broke its other wing, and then a bunch of other crabs showed up and ate the bird. So that's not common. At least it's not commonly reported that they go after large prey like that. But it is creepy and crazy. So they're not opposed to eating larger animals, and some locals of some of these islands have reported that these crabs will eat kittens. So enjoy that sad visual. But crabs got to eat.
Crabs got to eat,
and they'll not only eat the bodies, the live animals, but they'll also eat carrion, dead animals, and potentially even dead humans. So if you don't know about Amelia Earhart, she's the first first person, I think, to fly across the Atlantic on her own. Definitely the first woman. And her plane mysteriously vanished. She and her plane mysteriously vanished. And the legend has it that her body was eaten by coconut crabs, specifically coconut crabs, and that's why we can't find it.
Yeah, that's a relatively recent theory.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Huh. I actually listened to a podcast about her years ago. I don't remember. I remember like it may have like fallen into the sea and been eaten by sea life, but I hadn't heard the coconut crab theory.
It's based on like, it's more than just like, if she landed on an island with coconut crabs, they could have, eaten, and she died, they could have eaten her. But I think it has to do with like, this is where she might have been, and this island it seems a likely candidate for where she could have crashed for different reasons. And then also it had coconut crabs on it, and they are known to eat carrion and carcasses and stuff.
Yeah, and
drag them into dens and stuff, so you'd never find like remains.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody needs to be worried about coconut crabs hunting them or attacking them, but you definitely don't want to mess with them. They're, like I said, they have incredibly strong pincers, and they have a penchant for never letting go. So they have a lot of willpower and long suffering when it comes to that. So you don't want to get pinched by one of these guys. Really quickly, I want to pull up the article, and somebody described being pinched by the coconut crab. Actually, the researcher that went to go find out what their grip strength was.
Oh my gosh, it's got pinched.
Hold on. Okay.
When is Coyote Peterson going to do this? Did he already?
The researcher said being pinched was like, he said, I was pinched 2 times and felt eternal hell.
Was he being dramatic, or was that real?
I don't know. It may have been, he's a Japanese researcher, so it may have been just a poor translation. Maybe hyperbole is more common when you're talking about stuff like this.
Well, maybe that's a phrase that just means like it hurts like hell.
Yeah, like it's extremely painful, but it definitely sounds like a very literal translation that doesn't take like an idiom into account. But it is funny. He was pinched 2 times. But yeah, I mean, they pinch super hard and they're not letting go. There's apparently a trick that gets them to let go.
Tickle their bellies?
Yes, tickle their bellies.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
I was being funny.
Hold on, let me see if I can find. Oh, they don't have it here. But yeah, there's the locals have a trick for it, and it has to do with stroking like their armpits on the underside, and then they let go. I guess they're ticklish.
The locals are pranking the tourists. That's
It's like, hey, well, if you ever get pinched by one of these things, just sing it a nice song in the most calm way possible while you're bleeding out or whatever. Citizen Snips also tends to steal human food because they're relatively fast because they can move. They're so big, they have large legs, and they have strong legs, so they can climb and move quickly. So they have been known to steal the food of the locals, which is why they're called the robber crab or the palm thief, and why I called it the pinchy pirate. But they're also pretty aggressive with each other, and since they don't have shells, they have to defend themselves with their claws, and the larger palm crabs can actually kill and eat the smaller ones.
Mm-hmm. Besides humans, those are their only natural predators.
Or other palm crab or other coconut crabs.
Yeah, and birds when they're younger, but now they have to contend with dogs and pigs. Pigs will go after them and eat them.
I feel like a pig would just have a hard time getting through that carapace, but
pigs can bite through stuff.
I'm sure, but that's tough. And plus, they'd have to contend with the pincers. Like, they try to bite one leg, and then suddenly they get the eternal hell in their nose. But I guess they have a high threshold for pain. But that's all I got.
That's all I got.
That's the coconut crab. If you didn't know that a giant crab lives on land somewhere, now you do. Enjoy that. Enjoy that knowledge.
Yeah. Have you ever spent Christmas on Christmas Island? Because you might experience a painful hell.
Yeah, eternal. As hell is.
He's still, that researcher was still feeling it.
Yeah, that's why he could describe it that way. He's like, it's been 10 years, and I still feel like it's attached.
The crab is still there. He didn't never let go.
It's a ghost crab. He's being haunted by Pinch's past. The ghost of Pinch's past.
I looked up a video of a ghost crab today, and it was like they have like these cute big black eyes, and then the top comment was, "That crab is shaped like a friend," and somebody underneath was like, "What does this mean?" And then somebody else was like, "It looks friendly."
It is shaped like the best boy. All right, so that was the coconut crab for you out there in Podcastia. Go shed your shell, get a grip on life, and don't let go unless you're tickled, like the coconut crab here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, thanks for listening to the episode. Just a few quick things. As always, reviews and social media engagement are greatly appreciated, but recommending the podcast to friends is the best way to help us grow. If you'd like some LDT flavored merch, check out teespring.com/stores/taxonomyteas. That's it. Thanks for listening all the way to the end.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Good advice.
Especially the tickling part.